Hi everybody, it's Amalia and I'm here today with a little bit of watercolor play. Today I'm going to be working with some tools and supplies that you could find anywhere, Amazon, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, wherever you buy your craft supplies. This is a Strathmore student level watercolor paper. This is frog tape. You can use masking tape. You can use washi tape. You'll need some water. I like to use a container of clean water and one for dirty water. I also like to put my tape either on my clothes or on my skin a couple of times just to take off some of the tack. And I'm just covering up the edges of my watercolor paper to hold it down to the paper. This is a Prang, it's called Prang Professional, but this is really student grade watercolor as well. I have some little white dishes so that I could hold my watercolor and make some mixes of color. And this is an old, I think it's called a Seder plate that I got at some Goodwill or something like that. It holds eggs, but I used it for watercolor. I'm also using some Copic opaque white. You can use a bleed-proof white. I'll leave a list of supplies in my description below so that you can check out some of the supplies that I used. I'm using a spray bottle to wet my colors and get them activated. This is a great watercolor palette to use. It has two neutrals, a black and a brown. It has some basic colors, a red, a orange, yellow, a green, and a blue, and a purple as well. For brushes, I would recommend using a 6, an 8, and a 3, and maybe a fine liner brush. I also like using Viva paper towels. These are a paper towel that do not have a print on them. They're good for sopping up color, wetness. If you use a paper towel like the one on the right, you may pick up some of that print on your paper, and so I use a paper towel, and this is very helpful to control your water. I'm creating a beach scene here, and so I'm going to start with the water, and I'm going to start with my blue first. And the blue right out of the gate is it's a lovely blue, but it's a little bit intense blue for what I want to do. So I spend a lot of time using extra watercolor paper on the side just to determine the color that I want. I'll add some water to weaken the strength of the color if I want it a little bit more weaker color, or I'll add additional colors like green if I want, let's say, more of a Mediterranean turquoise type of color. I'm spending a little bit of time to create my colors, and I like this new color, but I think I want to blend a little bit more of that blue into it, and that's why I mix it sort of on the page. And now I'm going to take a little bit of blue from the blue pile, a little bit of green from the green pile, and see if I can make the right color that I'm looking for. So what I end up doing finally on the page is I'll go into the original blue color that I created. I'm going to add a little bit more water to it to weaken the strength of that blue, and not too much, but just enough to make it a little bit lighter than what I started with. And then I'm going to work in the two additional colors that I created. And by the way, I've started out with dry paper, so I'm using a lot of paint. And then I'm going to go over now with the blue-green mix that I made and overlap a little bit of that original blue. Then I'm going to go into the blue-green, and I'm going to try and sort of let those colors sort of meld together. I've stopped about 2/3 of the way down and created a water's edge for myself. And I'm convincing myself right now to stop, don't move any further, don't do anything else, you're going to mess it up, and I clean off my brush. You can let it dry naturally, but I'm using my heat tool to speed up the process. And I want to point out that I've used a gradation of color of blues to get my painting started off. And I've done that intentionally because, if you've ever been to the beach, you know that the water changes color at closer to the sand, closer to the shore. It's a lighter color a little bit further away. It deepens a little bit, and then it deepens even further the more you move away from the shore. So I hope that comes across and you understand why it is that I've done that. Now it's time to paint the sand. So I've grabbed a little bit of yellow. I'm going to grab a little bit of brown and test my color on some scrap watercolor paper. Now, I like that color actually, but for some reason I decided to dip into some red and yeah, that doesn't work. You'll see the color that comes out. And, I'm just testing and I keep going till I get the right color I want. It's not a terrible color, but it looks more like dirt than sand. And, sand comes in a wide range of colors all across the planet, from white sandy beaches to black sand in Hawaii, I think it is, pink sand, etc., etc. But the kind of sand that I'm familiar with is mostly a yellow, brown type of sand. So I'm trying to go for that color. Once I've got my color adjusted the way I like it, I'm going to paint in my sand. And thankfully, I don't need a lot of it because my blue leaked into it. And that's why palettes with wells are better than just flat palettes. My next step is going to be to create my waves. And what I'm going to do there is use some blue, and I'm going to intensify the blue color because I want to create a line of shadow to create my waves. And so that's the first step that I'm going to do. I'm going to intensify my blue by adding more of the direct color. And once I get the right intensity of color, I'm going to create some thin lines across to make my waves. So I'm switching from my number 6 round brush to a smaller number 3 round brush. And honestly, I could have stayed with the 6 round brush, but I chose to move to a smaller brush. I'm just using the very edge, the very tip of this round brush as finely as I can, as delicately as I can, to make these intense blue lines. So my plan is to just draw very fine, thin lines across my page on an angle. I'm doing squiggly lines like the lines would be for a wave. They're never perfectly straight. And I'm really trying to deposit as much ink, as much paint on those thin blue lines as possible. I'm going to end up thinning out these lines using some water to thin out the lines a little bit later, and you'll see what I do. But I want these lines to just give the start, the intention of the wave. Now I'm switching over back to my number 6 round, and I'm taking plenty of water on the tip of the brush to sort of liquefy that color again and just make it even thinner and draw out a little bit of that color into what's eventually going to be the bottom of the wave. And I'm not a professional, clearly. I'm not a practiced watercolorist, but I'm using what little skill and knowledge and intuition I've picked up to do this. And I hope this encourages you to play with your supplies, give watercolor a try. You can watercolor with ink refills. Any water-based ink refill that you have can serve as a watercolor for you. And, I made several of these, then you'll see them in the end. And I'm happy with the way they come out, considering I'm not a professional. And while I'm not a professional, I love playing with watercolor, and I wanted to give this a try. So my next step here is going to be using my Copic Opaque White to make the foam for the waves. And if your bleed-proof white or your opaque white is a little too stiff or thick, go ahead and just mix in a little bit of water with it, and it should paint very well. So I'm starting with, just painting like lines straight up, as if I was using a Copic marker. But really, I start going with more of, I don't know what you call it, scumbling. I'm just painting, wild little waves foaming and falling and jumping into the air, as you would. And once I finish this initial part, I'm going to add additional small little highlights with that white to indicate, other waves, other splashes. And I think in the end, I like it. You let me know what you think. Leave a comment below and let me know if you give this a try for sure. So the same thing for the second wave, just random strokes and swirls and pushing the paint around and just trying to make, the water look like a wave. For the final wave that approaches the shore, I take a little bit of a looser hand. The water at the shore sometimes to me, as it's moving in and out, has less of that foamy action, let's say. And again, I'm going to add some additional little stripes and swirls of paint in between each wave as well, just to emphasize the water. And you'll see here that I take a little bit more of a liberal approach to laying down that white towards the shore. Just a few more strokes of white as the surf breaks on the sand. And I have to remind myself to stop and put the brush down. And I do. This is one example. I have another example for you right here. On this example, I followed the same techniques as the first one, but for this one, I want to do footprints in the sand. And, I'm not an artist either. I'm not a watercolor painter. I'm not a drawer or an artist. But I figured I could do this. So I put little footprints in the sand, and I just like that little added touch. It's a little corny, I know, but I had fun with it, and I really enjoyed doing it. I ended up making several of these, and I'll show you more examples and more techniques. But eventually I made them all into cards and I sent them out. I don't have cards to show you because they're just the artwork itself as the card. And I put that prayer inside the card, the one that goes, there were 2 footprints in the sand. I was walking beside you, and then I was going through difficult times, and there was only 1 footprint in the sand. Why did you abandon me? And, God responds, that was when I was carrying you. So I put those in the cards, and I sent those out. And, yep, so this is this piece. And it's very easy to remove that frog tape from watercolor paper. Just make sure that your paper is completely dry. I decided to work on some mini slimline sizes, and I'm just using up paint from my paint palettes. This time I'm starting with a wet paper instead of starting with dry. So my paper is nice and wet, and I'm digging into some random blue that was in my paint palette. Now, a mini slimline card base is going to be 3.25 by 6.25. And that's the size of my panels right there. And this color went down very dark, but you have to be really patient with watercolor and know that the colors will dry lighter, especially when you do the wet technique. And so that's why I added another layer, and I added a little bit of green to some blue-green that I already had in the palette. So now I'm adding my last shade of that blue-green, and I'm going about 2/3 of the way down the page and on an angle. I think that angle lends a little bit of perspective, you know, a viewpoint to the scene, and so that's why I do that. Now it's time for me to paint my sand, so I'm going to use a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown. I am not going to add red like I did the last time. And I'll start by cleaning my palette and start with a fresh clean palette so I can add a little bit of yellow and a little bit of brown and get the right color for my sand. Looks like there's a little bit of color left over in my brush, but that's not the problem. The problem is I added a little bit too much brown to the yellow, and I don't like that color. So for some oddball reason, I went back into the red, but I just went in with a titch of red. I'm going to add more yellow and again, test that color out and realize that it's going to dry a little bit lighter. So let's just go for it with the color that we have. I'm not crazy about the color in the dish for my sand. I'm not crazy about it as I lay it down on the paper, but patience is your friend when you're working with watercolor. When you wait for it to dry, it'll lighten up a little bit. The colors will work a little bit better than you might imagine. And watercolor is very friendly. You don't have to be perfect with watercolor. Okay, now that my paint is dry, it looks a little softer. The colors blend a little better, don't you think? Give me a thumbs up if you agree. Now I'm going back to creating the shadow for my waves, and I'm laying down some intense dark blue color as best I can. I'm using a number 3 round, and I'm using just the very tip of the brush to create the waves. And now I'm going in with my larger brush that's filled with plenty of water and trying to thin out that line even further and bring that color down. Here I am doing the second one now, and I just love the look of watercolor. It can be so ethereal sometimes, and the colors are so beautiful. So I finished up the waves on the first one, and I'm starting on my second one with the waves. I think I've heard Sandy Allnock call this technique like scumbling, where you take your pen or pencil or a paintbrush and just sort of wiggle it around like this. I think it gives me the effect that I'm looking for, and I'm having fun, and I think that's the whole idea that I'm trying to convey. Just have fun, play with your watercolors, try and make something new, and enjoy it. If you want to give watercolors a try and you don't have any of the supplies, I will leave a link with some supplies that you can pick up relatively inexpensively, and maybe you can give this a try as well. I've picked out some coordinating colored cardstock, and here are my finished paintings. 2 of them have footprints in the sand, and one of them looks like it's a riptide because the waves are going in different directions. Again, I had fun, I experimented. I love the colors in the water. I love the experimentation with the opaque white to make my waves. I like the footprints in the sand. I really just enjoyed doing this and working on this, and I hope you did too. And I hope this inspires you in some way. I hope you give it a try. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and I hope you subscribe and come and visit me often. That's all for now. Bye!